Hello, my name's Luke Carmali, and I am joined today by Mr. Daniel Krupa.
All right, everyone.
And we are going to be playing today the multiplayer of Diablo 3 on console. This is the Xbox 360 version. We are playing the local multiplayer.
What else is this coming out on?
It will be coming to the PlayStation 3, as well as the PlayStation 4, and we believe the Xbox One, although that's yet to be properly confirmed, but it seems very, very likely that will be the case.
What's going on here? I've never played Diablo 3 for the record, so I'm very confused.
I've played a lot of Diablo. Krupa's played very, very little. Well, none. So basically here we're looking at all the classes. It's the same class that you can get in the PC version. So this is me. I elected to go as the lovely, lovely Witch Doctor. And so, yeah, Krupa, just obviously you've never played Diablo before. How did you find your first Diablo experience?
I found it very confusing because you're a terrible, terrible tutor.
It's true.
But I guess the whole rationale behind bringing it to consoles is opening it up to a bigger audience, an audience that wouldn't necessarily discover this type of game. But I found it quite confusing, but I probably said that was based on 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, as someone who has played Diablo, it's quite easy when you're just focusing on yourself. When you're playing on your own, it's great because you know where you are vaguely, and you know where what the enemies are doing. It does get very, very confusing with 4 players.
So this is 4-player. We were selecting different classes for all the different players. We're all different classes in this demo. So we played it with Tom and Will from The Office.
Yeah, and basically it's one of the levels from the game. So this is local co-op. There is an online co-op that you will be able to play, which I don't know. I don't know if that would be. We haven't seen that, so I don't know if you still have everyone else's UIs, like their health displays and stuff, in that situation. But in this, well, you'll see in a minute when we start fighting.
So on the screen, on the display, you can see how all your kind of attacks are mapped to the Xbox controller.
Yeah, and as something that they've been talking about a lot, which you'll be able to see in a bit when we go into the menu system.
As a kind of long-term Diablo player, Luke, how did you find using the controller for all those inputs?
Using the controller wasn't actually too bad. I mean, you've still got the same level of customization that you get in the PC one. So for those who aren't aware, you can change certain aspects of skills by putting in runes to make them do different things. So, at the moment I've got these dogs that drop health orbs when they die, but I can change it so they poison enemies, Yeah,
and for the record, neither Luke nor I is player 4, who's just crazy.
And you can see at the moment we're cycling through items on the left and the right just by your UI, because when you pause it and you want to go into the full inventory screen, it does pause it for everyone. So you can actually just press up on the D-pad and it cycles through the skill, through the all the loot you've got. And if you press A, it instantly equips it, and you can also drop it that way. So one of the big things that they're trying to... This is the map screen. One of the big things that they're trying to do is basically encourage you to talk to each other about what loot you've got. Personally, we didn't do any of that, and now there's an argument that said it's a demo, we're not keeping these characters, who cares? But I don't know, I think that if you're all sharing loot, that's just going to cause arguments, where one person wants something that you've got, but you don't have anything to trade it for, so why would you? I don't know. We didn't do it at all, did we?
No, it was kind of a free-for-all, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
We were all massively overpowered.
Yeah,
we should also say that.
Yeah, we're level 34. I think we hit level 35 before this is out. That's the other thing you can do. Those pillars of light above your character, you can do that to make them, to let you know where you are, which is kind of useful because it does get very, very messy, as you can see. And the other thing that I miss from the PC version, when you're fighting enemies, you get their health bars, so you know how much you've got left to go. Don't get that in this.
Why is that being removed?
Well, I think it's because you're obviously targeting different characters, or different enemies rather. So you can't. They didn't want to kind of standardize it. When there's boss enemies who have kind of auras, glowing auras, it does crop up for them, but it doesn't for everything else. It's very, very weird.
So are there any other major concessions made to kind of the more traditional console gamer, the kind of gamer who would be put off by this kind of game?
Well, they've changed bits and pieces. They've added a dodge for everyone now, which the right analog stick does. So
that's kind of very much like a God of War kind of role for me. That's kind of what it reminds me of. And
it's a lot more kind of avoidy than other class pad, and whereas it kind of runs out on the PC version, it doesn't here.
I'm glad it's avoidy.
I know, it's avoidy. So everything up to patch 1.07 on the PC version is in this game. So they've put in lots of things. So there's stuff there like the Infernal Machine and all of that. And they said they've tweaked the AI and things to make it slightly more friendly for... Oh, there you go. There's the inventory screen. So you can see it's a radial menu. And actually, I've got to say, it works very, very well. Having played the PC version as well, it's friendly. It's quite simple to use. It's quite intuitive. You can just.
So what are you doing here? You're just looking around.
Just looking at the different loot that is in the inventory and that we can switch it to. This is, again, these are the skills that I mentioned earlier. We can change them and you can map them to different buttons. I mean, how did you find it? Because obviously you haven't played Diablo before.
I have no grasp on what's going on here. In general, like, this is overwhelming me.
This is
and scaring me quite a lot, Luke.
I mean, in fairness, bear in mind that this is the first time that Trooper and Tom and Will had kind of played the game.
Sorry, we look like a bunch of idiots on the screen. I imagine like the Diablo aficionados, like just.
It's fine because when you actually start the game, you get a skill at a time and it trains you up in using and customizing them, which makes things a lot easier.
So whereabouts is this in the game?
This is quite an early level, which is why it's a bit kind of messed up that we're so high powered. Because I obviously, the point is that they wanted us to have fun rather than dying and stuff. And considering the skill level of most of the group, I think that was probably for the best.
That's the fast bit, really.
There's one big point though that you need to know about multiplayer. Well, not multiplayer, but Diablo on consoles. That there is no auction house.
So what does that mean, Luke?
Well, that's great. If you remember...
What is the auction house?
The auction house basically allows you to... Any loot you get in the game, you can sell on the auction house to other players on the computer version. And now the big kind of kerfuffle came about because they allowed you to do this for real money. So you could really buy loot using, actual cash. Which caused a massive kerfuffle because aside from anything else, the whole point of the game is... It's not a loot grind. Essentially it is. You're trying to get the best loot you can, and that's all the fun of the fair. So the fact that you can game it by just buying all the best loot straight out the gate, that really upset a lot of people.
So how much was stuff going for?
When it first started, it was going for quite a lot. You were talking about quite a lot. You were talking about £5 for a decent item. And when you think about it, that's you think how many items go every day. They're making a killing. But anyway, Blizzard has come out before and said if they could remove it from the PC version, they would, but it's in there now. So anyway, they've learned their lesson for this and have taken it out.
Is there any kind of equivalent, like trading, or is it just not there at all?
You can, here, for example, you can't trade. All you can do is you can drop items, and then one of your friends can pick them up. So that's the way to do it. But the other thing is you can take your character to a friend's console to play local co-op. You can do that by USB, or the PSN I know has cloud support for it, which is quite exciting. And the only other big change really is there is a new pickup called Glory of the Nephilim, which you should see towards the end of the demo. I think we managed to nail it. And basically what it does is it gives you extra damage. As long as you keep killing things, you keep doing extra damage, which is quite exciting. You can see here, for example, the health bars at the top, which, again, I still don't know why that's not there all the time. Seems a bit weird. So, did you enjoy your first Diablo experience? I know Tom kind of found it quite enjoyable, but just a bit overwhelming.
I did enjoy it. I was largely confused by it. I do think I'd play it again, but if you were recommending me coming to it for the first time, do you think the console version is the one you would recommend, or do you think you'd still say go to the PC version or Mac version? This
is the thing. I kind of wonder if we'd actually all had our time to kind of level up from the start, and because I was jumping in, I didn't really customize my skills either. If we'd all had the time to kind of play it a little bit and learn how it works, develop our characters, because these are just cookie cutter characters that were given to us by the developers. So I don't know. I think there's good stuff here.
Is this online co-op as well?
There is online co-op as well.
I actually enjoyed the 4-player local. That's probably my favourite thing about it. We were all sat down together at lunchtime playing it in that way.
Yeah.
I think it really added to the experience. I think if I played it online or solo, I just don't think the attraction would have been there for me in the same way.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's a shame that we didn't really look into the loot kind of aspect of it, but it did get to the stage where it was a bit... we didn't really care. You have time, we're rushing through, we're overpowered as is. It doesn't really make a difference if you have kind of a slightly better weapon. And, we were already...
Right, for people who might not played Diablo like me, can you just explain what the massive creature is that's been with us for most of the demo?
Oh, that is, well, I was playing the Witch Doctor, so that thing there, down beneath me.
With the skulls dangling from its back.
Yeah, it's one of my minions. So basically, all the classes obviously have different, different play styles, and the big thing about the Witch Doctor is that he kind of makes use of minions. So the devil dogs that are there, the green dogs.
That was the name of your band, wasn't it? Luke Kamali and the Minions.
That is, you're very, very right. So yeah, it's I don't know, it translates well.
Specialising in Welsh funk.
Exactly, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But something the guy made the point of, he didn't think this looked graphically that great.
Well, Diablo 3 can support 2.5K on PC.
Yeah, no,
the Mac version you can play on a Retina screen.
Yeah, it's a seriously good-looking game on PC.
So what do you think about it?
I think I
don't think
agree.
Will's ever played Diablo 3, so I don't know if he's in a place to really say that.
No, true. I mean, I think the PC version does look better than this. But I mean, this is, bear in mind, Xbox 360. Don't know what it's going to look like on PlayStation 4 and possibly Xbox One. I'd imagine.
Did they say
great.
anything about price points for this?
They did not. But as far as I'm aware, it's meant to be full retail, isn't it? I think so. I'd imagine so. I mean, Blizzard announced last week that they've now sold 12 million copies of Diablo 3 on PC.
So if you buy this, what's in store for Diablo? What's its future?
Well, there's mutterings that we think Gamescom, Blizzard, are holding a press conference, which is unusual for them, and they've said that they have an announcement to make, and the wording of it, I can't remember the exact wording, but it's something to do with teasing about the heavens and the hells. So it sounds very much like there is an expansion on the way.
What's your intuition? Do you think they're gearing up to be able to release that simultaneously across platforms?
I very much doubt it, because everything they've been harping on about is that they've kind of taken the time to develop this from the ground up, like redevelop it. So I imagine that it'll come to PC first, because the PC gamers have been waiting for it for a long, long time.
I think that's a bit of a jip, though. If you're paying full retail maybe for this version, but you don't have to wait.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's kind of the thing, Blizzard's big mantra has always been, when it's ready. Like, there's jokes on the internet about that's their kind of trademark, like, it'll be out when it's out. Yeah. So they don't rush things. So I think there's that. They still haven't nailed the PvP, which is player versus player, where you fight other characters. They haven't nailed that yet on the PC version, which is been a bit of a problem. So I don't know when that's going to come to the console version. I hope it does eventually. You'd assume.
Why do you keep looking at the map so much? Is that? It's not a criticism. It
is.
No, is that a standard thing in Diablo?
It's more to do with
Twitch.
Yeah, no, it's a Twitch. It's more to do with me finding the. If you're playing this, yeah, and as you can see, you've got a limited time left. I was trying to find where the edge of where our objective was. It's that glowing yellow circle. Right. But also something which we didn't manage to find on this version. All the maps, you'll know if you played Diablo on PC, they're randomly generated. So if you play through this again, it'll be a different layout. And there's also, in every map, there's one kind of optional story mission that gets you extra loot if you complete it, and it's usually takes place in a cave or something. We didn't encounter it this time, but again, what one that is, where that is, that changes every time you play. So that's quite cool, it does add to replayability, and the big thing about Diablo, for those not in the know, is the point is there's increasing difficulty levels, and it gets very, very punishing the further you go. So the notion is you play through it again and again, get better and better loot.
That time restriction, that was just for the demo?
Yes, the time restriction is just for the demo. There are now. Yeah, that's it's and all of that. But there's quite, as far as ports go, you can tell it's very much been crafted from the ground up. The control system works, which is great. I just found it too busy, personally.
Why is that? Is it because there's four of us? Or
yeah, I mean, I found it very, very distracting with you guys on the screen doing
playing really badly.
Well, not very badly, but doing your spells.
So why isn't that a problem on PC? I don't.
Because if you're on your own, you just have to keep track of yourself.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, I mean,
even when
I know which one I am, and everything else there. That's that Glory of the Nephilim thing that I was on about. And everyone else on the screen, everything else on screen, needs to die. Whereas here, I'm not sure. I know that Will spent the good first 10 minutes of the demo trying to kill the big minion that
my character actually now doesn't have a ring around.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's a...
That might be a bug. I'm assuming that's a bug. It's all. It's you know. It's. I mean, the thing is, I think we had fun playing it, and we definitely would come back to it. But you know, we were at a bit of a loss because, as I say, I was playing with 3 people who hadn't played it, and you weren't given the kind of. I wasn't a great shooter. And,
You're awful.
yeah.
Okay,
see, look,
it's going
there
mental.
You go. There you go.
That's my insightful critical remark. Look at it.
It's just
stuff going on. Look, there's an evil dragonfly.
It was very, very tricky to kind of have an idea about what was going on in this situation.
I also think we were mocking you quite a lot during this. Just how seriously.
It's very serious, and I kept using phrases that you guys didn't.
Yeah, like glass cannon.
Like glass cannon, you didn't.
This is an accepted term, but Tom mercilessly ridiculed you for using it.
Yeah, Tom didn't quite appreciate.
Tom's too cool for school. He thinks he's a bit of a hipster.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, I should have realised that at the start.
With his long hair.
There you go. That's time expired. So anyway, that's a sneak peek at the multiplayer of Diablo 3 on Xbox 360, which is out in September, and then the PS4 and possibly Xbox One version will be out sometime later this year.
Exciting.